Sometimes when I'm putting a guitar together, I go on a journey and learn stuff I never quite expected, like I did not when I started this build. The guitar in this video is built upon a Chinese-made Thinline Telecaster body in metallic purple. I looked around my shop and found that I had a brand new pickguard for this very type of guitar, and it was in red tortoiseshell. I thought to myself, a purple guitar with a red tortoiseshell pickguard? I don't know. I googled this to see if anyone else had done this before. Everything has already been done before. Rarely do we venture into uncharted territories. I found, of course, a lot of different examples. One really good example is that Chicago Music Exchange did a special run of Squier Classic Vibe 60 Stratocasters in purple metallic with tortoiseshell pickguard, which is effing awesome looking. What's not effing awesome is that if and when you can find this guitar for sale on eBay or Reverb, they start at around $650 and go up. I digress. Speaking of classic vibe, for this build I had a brand new set of Squier Classic Vibe 60s Telecaster custom pickups that I would use for this project. I purchased a bunch of these because I think that they are one of the most highly underrated pickups out there. I also had a Fender Made in Mexico Classic Series 60s Telecaster neck, 21 frets, C-shape, and a 7¼ inch radius. I installed a set of Goto vintage tuners on the neck. The wiring circuit is a standard modern Telecaster circuit with two CTS 250K pots, a .047 UF capacitor, and an Oak Grigsby 3-way pickup selector switch. The bridge and neck plate are both Fender, and the brass compensated saddles are made by Wilkinson. I put the guitar together, nothing really new or unusual in the project, no special 10-position switches or split humbuckers, just your boring run-of-the-mill Telecaster Thinline. Not to change subjects, but I am kind of excited about some changes that I recently made to my workbench. I get really claustrophobic with crap strewn all over my bench when I'm trying to work. It messes with me being able to have clear and what I would say productive thoughts. I was looking at my tuner the other day and realized it had the same 1/4 inch threaded hole that all my cameras have on the back of it. It suddenly hit me that I could install an articulating boom arm and then install my tuner at the end of it. So then when I'm using the tuner, I pull it over to the guitar, and when I'm not using it, I just swing it away and it's off the bench. Next, my positive grid Spark Mini died. I've had one on my bench since they first came out, and I've really loved the size of the amp and how it does not take up a lot of room. It's always handy so I can test a guitar when I'm working on it. I was at a loss without it and found you cannot just replace the battery. You actually have to send it back in a positive grid for service. Everything I put in place of the Spark Mini as a temporary kind of amp was just too large and took up way too much space. I started looking for some sort of an alternative. I was online looking on Amazon, and I came across this thing called the Mooer MOOER Baby Bomb 30 micro power amp. I couldn't believe my eyes, and I couldn't believe that this thing actually would work. It's a 30-watt amplifier in the form factor of a mini pedal. I already had a 30-watt single speaker cabinet that I could put underneath my bench, so I decided to order the pedal for $91. The link is in the description of this video. Here's what Mooer describes the pedal as. The Baby Bomb provides a true 30 watts of power to drive any guitar cabinet with an impedance of 8 ohm to 16 ohms. If you push the volume control past 12 o'clock, Baby Bomb can provide a warm, true tube-like post-stage overdrive, which feels natural and pleasant to the touch. When the pedal showed up, I attached it to the wall above my bench using pedal Velcro. I plugged it in and cranked the volume up. Oh my God, this thing can get so loud. It's just ridiculous. When I'm using it, I barely turn the volume up and it just booms. I only turn the volume up maybe about 1/4 of the way max all the time. I am truly amazed with the quality of the tone that comes out of this thing, and I'm also very happy because it also freed up a lot of space on my bench. On with the build. The first time I installed the strings on the guitar while I was sitting on the bench, and then I strummed them, my face was positioned over the F-hole. I could feel air brush my cheek, and the sound produced was just excellent. Kind of more so than normal. with some sort of an F-hole based semi-hollow type of guitar body. So I picked up the guitar and I tuned it and I started to strum. The volume of the sound coming out of the guitar's F-hole was just not usual. It was almost like playing an acoustic. I put together a lot of Thinlines and other types of hollow or chambered body guitars. They're always somewhat resonant, but just not at this level. This was almost at an acoustic guitar level, as I had already said. When people buy guitars from me online, I get asked a lot of times what the resonance of the guitar is like unplugged. I always smile because I think to myself, this is one of the things I look for as well. I always feel that if a guitar sounds great unplugged, it's going to sound just as great plugged in. When I was thinking about writing the script for this video, I started to do research on resonance. I stumbled upon a very important person to guitar sound that probably most of us have never heard of. His name was Hermann von Helmholtz. He was a scientist at the end of the 1800s. He was a pioneer in the study of the effects of human vision and hearing. In 1863, he published a book, Sensations of Tone. It is considered to be the foundation to the study of acoustics, resonance, and the perception of sound by humans. Helmholtz resonance is a term used to describe how the sound is produced in the hollow body of a guitar with a sound hole. There is a lump of air, as he described it, that sits near the sound hole and moves back and forth with the springiness of the air. Not unlike you blowing air across a bottle opening and then the low-pitched sound that's produced when you do this. The Helmholtz resonance of a guitar is due to the air at the sound hole oscillating, driven by the springiness of the air inside the body. So at the end of the day, I'll never know why this body is different than the others that I've used in builds. It looks exactly the same, it weighs exactly the same, everything about it seems the same. All I know is this body makes me more aware of the resonance than most every other guitar that I've ever built. It is kind of the holy grail of what I look for in a guitar. If it sounds great while I play it unplugged, then it will sound just as great plugged in, if not better.